The World Bank says meeting Nigeria's infrastructure needs will require $3 trillion by 2050, which in prevailing dollar exchange rate will take Nigeria some 300 years to provide a minimum level of infrastructure needed for accelerated development. The bank stated this in its 2022 Public Expenditure Review report as disclosed by the Nigeria Country Director, Africa Development Bank, at the 2023 Nigeria Employers Summit, themed Trade and Non-Oil Exports, Changing the Narrative for Rapid National Development. Noel Samson was there and brings us that report.
With the discovery of crude oil in Nigeria, trade and non-oil exports suffered considerable neglect. Unfortunately, while Nigeria neglected its pre-independence economic mainstay, nations like Germany, Malaysia, Japan, China, Korea, and Taiwan, among others, ramped up their trade and non-oil exports, leading to their significant economic growth and stability. This, among others, was one of the focus areas of the summit.
This summit offers a unique opportunity for us to be able to expand the employment net, and that's what we stand for in NECA. We want to make sure that as much as possible our youths no longer leave the shore of this country. If they have what to do here, they will not leave.
If you look at what is happening today in Nigeria, if there's anything we need, it's non-oil export. And like we usually said, or our campaign in NEPC, in Nigeria Export Promotion Council, that we have to wake up. This is the time to wake up and imbibe what we call a non-oil export culture, because that's the only way we're going to survive as a nation.
For us, it becomes very, very important, not only as an organization, but for us also, it's an enlightened self-interest for us to get government to refocus its attention to trade and non-oil exports, so that it can also augment the much-needed forex from trade and non-oil exports for the betterment of all of us.
Stakeholders believe that changing the narrative in the level of infrastructure in Nigeria requires the country to mobilize the private sector for improved service delivery.
Nigeria should mobilize the private sector for infrastructure development and service delivery. It will also help reduce fiscal burdens. And in this regard, I cannot overemphasize the urgency to prioritize energy sector investments.
World trade environment becomes more competitive, and nations become more nationalistic in their trade relations. It is important for us to look inwards and give priority to the maximization of our productive capacity and leverage on our comparative and competitive advantages.
Considering that the crude oil generates about 90% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earning, which has been so for decades, this data provides an interesting perspective to not only the country's capacity to improve its foreign exchange earnings through non-oil exports, but also to improve the Nigerian economy in general. Also, given the above statistics, the vital role of the private sector in Nigeria's economic development cannot be overemphasized.
Economic diversification is a key element of economic development in which a country moves to a more diverse production and trade structure. A lack of economic diversification is often associated with increased vulnerability to external shocks that can undermine prospects of long-term economic growth. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.